Welcome to Rupa's online tutorials. So in today's video, we are going to continue with our revision questions which we've been doing in the past few videos. And here I'm going to discuss the reduced syllabus model paper 1 for this year, 5-mark questions. Okay, so let us begin the lesson now. Yes, so we'll start with our session now. I know that cricket match is going on and many of you are hooked on to that, but yes, we will, but then this is also important, so let us begin now. So you can see here I have presented the 5-mark questions here. So part D, okay, part D you need to answer any 7 questions. So totally you can see that there are 11 questions there. So you have a choice. So 7 questions should be answered. See, each question carries 5 marks there. It is not 2 marks, it is 5 marks. Okay, so each question carries 5 marks. So there is this one. Okay, but I'll read out the questions here. You can see the first question. It is explain any 5 components of the motherboard. So there's any 5 components of the motherboard. So this is actually, it is 5 marks. Okay, so they are asking you to explain any 5 components of the motherboard. So it is not specified what are the components. So we'll just discuss these questions now one by one. Yes, so here the 5 components of the motherboard are CPU, BIOS, CMOS, okay, disk controllers, ports and interfaces. Now these kind of questions they may ask you in 2 marks also. If it is like 2 marks, they may ask you like explain any 2 components of the motherboard, or in 1 mark they may ask you expand BIOS, expand CMOS. So you need to be prepared. So I'll just read out this answer for you. CPU, what is CPU? All of us know it is central processing unit, and it is the main component of the motherboard. It's the main component of the motherboard. Yes, so that is easy to remember. Even last year you would have been learning this, isn't it? It is the main component of the motherboard and the brain of the computer. It consists of 3 parts. What is that? CPU, that is central processing, the CPU, central processing unit, the ALU and the CPU. Okay, BIOS is nothing but basic input output system. Okay, sorry, it consists of the registers ALU and the CU. Okay, the CPU consists of the ALU, CU and the registers. There has been a small error here, so just yes, so this is consisting of the registers. Yes, so the registers ALU and the CU. ALU stands for arithmetic logic unit, where the arithmetic logical unit is where the arithmetic and logical operations are carried on. Okay, and CU is the control unit which is going to take care of the ALU and the registers. BIOS is basic input output system. It's a small chip which loads the hardware settings to activate the keyboard, monitors, etc. Okay, and CMOS is complementary metal oxide semiconductor. It's a battery. It's a battery to set the date and time parameters. Okay, the components of motherboard are disk controllers. Okay, disk controllers are nothing but it's a circuit which will enable you to communicate with the hard disk, the floppy disk, etc. Okay, the ports and interfaces, these are the sockets that is available on your on the side of the CPU box, if you've seen. So this is mainly used to connect to the external devices like your printers, your keyboards, speakers, okay, monitors, etc. Okay, now K-map, this is one definite question, 5-mark question which comes in the board exam. So you can see here the variables given here or the literals given in this are W, X, Y, Z. So when you draw the K-map also, please make sure that you draw it with these variables only. Don't draw it as ABCD, because many programs they write it as ABCD. You need to write it as W, X, Y, Z, and then you have to draw 16 columns and you need to reduce the K-map. Now this particular video I have done one separate video on my YouTube, okay, to do the K-map problems. Just have a look at that video. In detail I have explained using the K-map. For this particular for this particular question, the answer is this, okay, W complement, okay, this dash which is being put, it means the bar or the complement, X complement Y plus Z. So here there are two things you need to mark. One is a pair and another is an octet, and the reduced expression is W complement X complement Y and plus Z. So please look at that particular video for further information on how to actually work on the K-map. Okay, the next question, this is also very important question. Realize logical NOT and OR gate using NOR gate. So here there are two questions. One is using NOR gate and one is using NAND gate. So in this model paper they have asked about the NOR gate. The symbol for the NOR gate is an OR gate, okay, an OR gate with a bubble. So how do we draw an OR gate? We draw an OR gate like this, isn't it? With two variables, that is X and Y. So we draw it like this, OR gate, okay. An OR gate is represented as X plus Y, but since here we are going to use a NOR gate, we need to draw the bubble here and put a bar on the top. So this is how the NOR gate is represented. Yes, now the question here is realize logical NOT and an OR gate using a NOR gate. So we have to use the NOR gate, and then we have to draw the other three basic gates. The basic gates are NOT and an OR. Okay, NAND and NOR are called universal gates. So here if you see the first one, you draw one NOR gate, okay, and here you have this particular symbol here. So here it is actually, it's combined like this, and you draw one line like this. This is the NOR gate. Okay, so A plus A, the whole complement, is giving you A complement itself. The second one is you're drawing three symbols here, okay. So 1, 2 and 3 NOR gates you have to draw. Okay, the first one is A complement, second one is B complement, the third one is A complement plus B complements the whole complement. So here it becomes AB. AB is actually what? It is actually A and B. Okay, so it's a product. So A and B is what? It is actually representing the AND gate. Okay, so the first one is representing the NOT gate. So in the exam you need to write this. You have to write NOT gate, draw the symbol. The second one you have to write it as AND gate here. Okay, the second one is AND gate, and then you draw the symbol. And the third one is known as the OR gate. You are realizing the OR gate using the NOR gate. So you should not get confused. You should not go to draw the AND, OR and NOT gate. The basic gates are NOR here. So you see the question here, NOR gate. So you have to draw the NOR gates. Here first one NOR gate, here two NOR gates, the third one is two NOR gates. So here again you write A plus B complement. Again when you take the complement of this, you will get A plus B, which is the OR gate. Okay, so this is very easy. Please practice it. It's important for both NOR gate and NAND gate. It is very important. So in this model paper NOR gate is given. I think in the other model paper NAND gate is given. So practice this well for your exam. The next question that we have, okay, is write an algorithm to search an element in an array using binary search. Now, this is also very common question, this binary search, insertion sort, okay, algorithm of queues, okay, that is to in queue and dequeue an element. So these four algorithms are generally asked in the part D questions. Okay, part D algorithms, these are asked, and sometimes they combine insert and delete an element in an array. That algorithm is asked, or push and pop is also asked in 5 marks. So here you have the binary search. Here also I would like to tell you that this video also I have made separately for binary search in my YouTube channel, that is Rupa's Online Tutorials. So please subscribe to the channel, and also you can watch the video in detail. I have explained about binary search. So here we are having, okay, let A be an array of elements, B lower bound, E upper bound, location, ELE and mid element of the array. So many students, they don't write this part. They are not wanting to write this definition. So please write this also, and then write the algorithm. So the algorithm given here is, it's very easy. What is given in your textbook, in your Karnataka PU textbook, that is very easy. Please go through that algorithm. Okay, and here I have given the algorithm here also. So you can see that in the research 3 cases are there. One is when the search element is equal to the mid element, then it is, the search is found. When the search element is less than the mid element, then we have to move the end of the array. Okay, and if it is greater than the mid element, we have to move the beginning of the array. Beginning is, the lower bound has to be shifted. Okay, once if it is, the location is found, we note down the location of that particular element and then print it as search is successful. Otherwise we say that search element is not found. Okay, so please please go through that video also. You will have a better understanding about binary search. This question, okay, what is a queue? Explain the different types of queues. So queue, whenever we talk about queue, please imagine that you're standing in a place where you need to buy some tickets. For example, you're going for a movie. You stand in a queue to get the tickets. Yes, you may say that you are booking online and all those things, but yes, or you're going in a bus. You're going for reservation for bus or a plane or anything. You stand in a queue. So like that, when you can imagine that when people are standing in a queue, what exactly happens? Let me just draw a small picture. Okay, so here you have people standing in a queue like this. So if these people are standing in a queue, then let us say, let me take the movie theater itself. So this person wants to buy a ticket. He takes a ticket and he just leaves this place, isn't it? He is no longer there. This person now comes in the front, right? He comes in the front of the queue. So you should know that in a queue, the deletion will take place at a place called as front. Okay, and if somebody else, now there is one more person who is going to join the queue. So there is one more person who is joining the queue. So they are going to join at the end of the queue. The end of the queue is what? It is known as rear of the queue. Okay, so here queue is a linear data structure in which insertion takes place at one end called the rear and the deletion takes place at another end called the front. So please remember that movie theater with people standing in a queue, and then it is very easy, this answer, you can just write it down. What are the different types of queues that we have? We have simple queues, circular queues, priority queue and double-ended queue. So it's a 5-mark question. So 1 mark will be given for this and 4 marks will be given for this. Now for just writing this, you will not get 4 marks. You need to explain. So you can see this word here, isn't it? Explain the different types of queues. So please explain the different types of queues. Okay. So I have just shown you the diagram here. I have not written the explanation. So what's a simple queue? Simple queue is the same definition. You should write what is the definition for queue. So in simple queue, the insertion takes place at one end, which is called the rear of the queue or the back of the queue, and the deletion takes place at the front of the queue. Okay. And circular queue is a queue in which the elements are the rear end again points to the front pointer. Okay, it again points back to the front pointer. So that is known as circular queue. And priority queue is one. See, priority, the word priority means in some order. Okay, it comes in some order. For example, in your class, okay, some priority may be given for some students. Like for example, if let us say that some students are going in a van. So they may say that, okay, these van students need to leave 5 minutes earlier than the rest of the students. Okay, some rule like that would be given for them. So like that, a priority queue also, it is not going to just start from the front end. It is not, I mean, the deletion happens in the front and the removal happens in the rear. Like that, that rule doesn't work here in priority queue. So some of the elements can be removed first and some other elements can be removed later. Okay, so this is about priority queue. Okay, any doubts till then, till here? You can post it in the group. Okay, next we have double-ended queue or DQ. So DQ is where the insertion and deletion can happen at both the ends of the queue. Okay, so there is this rule is like, and the insertion can happen at the front of the queue as well as it will happen at the end of the queue. Similarly, deletion can happen at the front of the queue as well as the rear of the queue. So this one line has to be written, then you can draw this particular picture and you can get the marks. Okay, so that is with this particular thing. The next question, it says mention and explain any 5 features of OOPS. Okay, OOPS is what? Object Oriented Programming Languages. So they've asked you to mention and explain any 5 features of OOPS. So you have mentioned it here. See, this can be asked as characteristics of OOPS, or in 3 marks they may ask you individually the definition of these 5 words, or they may ask you explain the principles of OOPS. So for everything the answer is going to be same. Okay, so I have given here 5 different features or characteristics of OOPS. They are data abstraction, data encapsulation, inheritance, polymorphism, message passing. Okay, so they have asked here this question, explain. So you cannot just leave your answers like this. It's a 5-mark question. So you have to write 1 line or 2 lines, or you write the definition for that. Okay, am I clear about this? Yes. So here, data abstraction is what? It is the process of just give me a second, you can just go through that one. So now I'm online actually, you can join the chat, like some of my students are asking now. So okay, so as I was telling you, okay, yes, see K-map, I've given a separate video on K-map. Okay, a separate video on K-map is given. I want you all to go and check that particular video, and you can do the calculations based on that. Okay, otherwise you can yes, that will be okay, because K-map explanation has been done separately in another video in the same channel. Okay, so please go there and check out that. One of you wanted about K-map, so just go and check that particular video, and still you don't get it, we will discuss that also. Okay, so continuing with this answer, features and characteristics of OOPS. Okay, so here data abstraction is the process of representing essential features and hiding the background details. It is called as data abstraction. For example, the switchboard I have given, it can be anything. It can be a switchboard, a computer, a mobile, any of these devices. If you think about it, for example, if you think about the switchboard, are we worried how the internal connections are there? No, I just want to switch on the light or the fan or whatever the electronic equipment that I want, or I want to switch on the computer. I need to know how the switch works. Is it in on state or the off state? I am not worried about the internal details of that particular, I am not worried about the background details of that particular object. Okay, so data abstraction is a process of, it's one of the important principles of OOPS, wherein what happens, the background details are all hidden and only the essential features are represented for us. Okay. The second important feature is data encapsulation. So what is data encapsulation? The combining of data and functions into a single unit is known as data encapsulation. Okay, so you can imagine a capsule. A capsule is like your medicine capsule. Okay, it has got medicines in it, but here medicines are not there. What you need to imagine, data encapsulation means it is data and functions. Okay, so these two words you should remember, data and functions. So I can draw a capsule like this. Okay, so it has got data and functions. Okay, so whenever this word data encapsulation comes, please remember these two words. Okay, the combining of data and functions into a single unit is called as data encapsulation. Okay, next one, inheritance. Inheritance is also one of the principles or features of OOPs, in which one class can inherit the properties of another class, or in simple terms you can say that one class gives its properties to another class. Okay, properties means what? Properties always means the data variables and the data functions, because a class contains only those two things, isn't it? It contains member variables and member functions. These variables are used for doing some task by the member functions. So you should imagine that, and you should understand that when I am saying it is giving its properties to another class, it is giving those functions. It is able to, the other programs or other parts of the programs can use these functions in their program also. So that is called as inheritance. Okay. Yes, the next feature of object oriented programming is okay, all this I just covered now. Okay, so here we are. So the next feature of object oriented programming is polymorphism. Okay, so polymorphism okay, polymorphism, poly means many, morphism means forms. Here same function name but multiple forms. Okay, poly means many, morphism means forms, so the same function name is used. Okay, so what is the use of using the same function name? Because some task, like for example to print an integer, or to print a float number, or to print a character, it's easier to remember one function name, print. It is not needed that we need to remember 10 different function names. So we say print, then we know that okay, we need to, if we pass that particular character, or if we pass an integer, it is going to print that particular value. So that is known as polymorphism. And the last feature that we are discussing here is message passing. Message passing means objects can communicate with one another by passing messages. So this concept in object oriented programming is called as message passing. Yes, I have someone asking me whether the K-map calculations. See, regarding K-map, as I told earlier, I have already given a video on K-map. See, K-map, please remember one thing, like first you need to mark the octet, that is 8 adjacent cells. Then you have to mark the quad, that is 4 cells. Then you have to mark the pair, it is 2 cells, and then you have to mark the single cell. So that is the order in which you should follow the K-map. Okay, so this has been really explained in one more video. If you still have doubts, you please message me again. Okay, on the comment section below. Okay, so we will go to the next question. Okay, explain class definition with syntax and example. So what is a class definition? See, class definition is nothing but it is the process of naming a class, data variables, and the interface operations of the class. Interface operations means what? The functions of the class. In simple terms, the functions of the class. Okay, so if they ask you explain class definition with syntax and example, okay, you need to write the class definition. So the class definition is what? Class, the name of the class, and then the member data and member functions of that class. So here you can just write the syntax like this: class, class name, access specifiers, member data, member functions. Okay, but after this you cannot stop it. You need to explain, right? So you need to tell this particular part. where class is a keyword to declare a class. Class name is a user defined name, it's an identifier, okay, and it will follow the rules of the identifier. And then access specifiers can be private, protected or public, and member data are the data variables of the class, okay. And member functions are the functions of the class, okay. Member functions are the functions of the class. Yes. And class declaration is what? It specifies the representation of the objects of the class and the set of operations that are applied to such objects. Okay. So here I have given an example of the class. So here we have the example of the class. So here we have class student, and in private I have declared only one variable. See, keep the examples as simple as possible, because no need to learn very complex examples. If you just learn a simple example which is telling you the concept, that is more than enough. So you can use this example for even for the question that explain class member functions defined inside the class. Even for that you can use the same programming example. You don't have to find another programming example. So here in this class student, I am having int roll number, which is declared in the private section of the class, and I am having a function void get data, which is declared in the public section of the class. So here in get data, I am going to accept this particular roll number from the user. So I have written cout less than enter roll number, and then cin greater than roll number, and I have closed the class with a semicolon. Afterwards, in the main function, I am declaring an object of the class student s, and I am using s dot get data. So here you have to see this is a dot operator. Dot operator is used for what? To access the members of the class. So here we are having the class. Which are the members of the class? The int roll number and void get data. Int roll number is the members of the class. And what is get data? The member functions of the class. So to access this member variable and member functions of the class, first we have to create an object of the class. How am I going to create the object of the class, and where am I going to create the object of the class? That is important. So I am going to create the object of the class in the main function. That's the reason we are writing void main. Okay. Because how do we define a class? We say class is a blueprint for a set of objects. That means what? This is only a structure we have defined. Okay, it's a user defined data type. But to use these members of the class, what we need to do? We have to create an object of this class in the main function. And through that object, we are accessing the members of the class. And how am I able to access these members of the class? By using one operator called as the dot operator. So here I am saying s dot get data. So if there are 2-3 other functions there, s dot compute, s dot put data. So I am taking, once the object is created, memory space is created for that object, and that object is able to use the functions and the data of that class. Okay, so hope I am clear with this definition. Next question, explain inline function with programming example. So inline function is a short function where the compiler replaces the function call with the body of the function. The keyword inline is used to define the inline function. This is the definition for inline function. So sometimes we don't want to have function overrides. Okay, so if you are going to declare the function outside the class, you need to write the prototype for that function, and then you need to call the function. So to avoid all this, what we are doing, we are writing a small, when the function is very small, it is not going to be not line of codes, we can write that function as a inline function. Okay, now the inline function, okay, this particular inline function, how do we write the inline function? It's very simple. You write hash include iostream.h inline. Okay, the keyword inline has to be used. Many students forget this part of it. They write all the programs, but then they don't know. So they have to write this word inline. Int, this is a return data type, square is the name of the function, and int a is the arguments you are passing to this function. And then you are saying return a into a. You are accepting this value. And in main, what you will do, you declare a variable int x, and you are calling this particular function square. So x is equal to square of 5. So what happens? In this a will get this value 5, and it is going to return this value 25. So where it is going to return this value 25, it will be stored in this value x. So it will be x is equal to 25. So now after we have got this value, we need to display it back to the user, isn't it? So we write cout less than square of 5 is equal to x, and we get the print of that particular that answer we get. So here what is happening, when inline int square int has come, when this function is called here, this particular code is directly executed through the inline function. Okay, so this is also easy, study that, and this is one of the simplest questions. Yes, write the rules for writing constructor function. So here you can easily remember, constructor is what? A constructor is a special member function, okay, which has got the same name as the class name and is used to initialize the objects of the class, or and it has no return data type. We know the definition of a constructor, so that only you can put it as 2-3 points when they ask the rules for writing the constructor function. Okay, so a constructor will always have the same name as the class name. That is the first point. There is no return type for constructors, okay, not even void. So when we write a constructor, we don't even write a void. For example, if I am having a class student in my previous example, so you can see that example student. So if I am just going to write like this, okay, in the public section, okay, this is a constructor. Okay, a constructor should be declared in the public section. So in the public section only the constructor should be declared. I think in one of my videos also I had explained in detail about these constructors. Okay, public student. So this is how your constructor looks. So but you have to write in the exam, no, you have to write this class student. Why we have to write it? Because it has the same name as the class name. So when you are writing the constructor, please write it like this. Okay, so class student, public student, and this is the example for a constructor. Okay, but in this question you don't need to write the example. They have just asked you to write the rules for writing the constructor. So you need to remember this example when you are writing the answer. A constructor always has the same name as a class name. You can see here this is a function, so it has got 2 parentheses. So this is the same name as the class name. There is no return type for constructors, not even void. A constructor should be declared in the public section. That's the reason I have written the constructor here. A constructor is invoked automatically when the object is created. That means in void main, when I say student S, this constructor is called by itself, and it is not possible to refer to the address of the constructor. Okay, so these 5 points you need to remember for getting 5 marks. Okay. The next question, what is inheritance? Explain single level and multi-level inheritance. So this question also is important. Here you need to learn all the different types of inheritance. That is single level inheritance, multi-level inheritance, multiple inheritance, hybrid inheritance, and hierarchical inheritance. All the 5 types you will learn. It's a very easy answer, but it's important. Please learn this. It's a theory answer. You can easily write. So the first part of the question is, what is inheritance? So that part, see, many students, they just start writing the answers, just seeing that, okay, types of inheritance. See, the first part of inheritance is, they have asked you the definition. So what is inheritance? The process of one class giving its properties to another class is known as inheritance. Okay, and what is single level inheritance? Single level inheritance is, in this type of inheritance, a class is derived from a single base class. That means what? There is one base class, and from that one derived class is there. That's it. Then your inheritance is done. Okay, then again from here we are not going to derive any more classes. So that is known as single level inheritance. Okay, then what is multi-level inheritance? So multi-level inheritance is the classes which are derived from already derived class is called as multi-level inheritance. That means here a grandfather, that is the base class, and then you have father, which is being derived from the grandfather. This is a base class again. So now this is a derived class, isn't it? So here what is happening? This is a base class, this is a derived class, okay, and this derived class now becomes the base class, and it is from here another class is derived. So the derived class becomes the base class for another class. So the class which are derived from already derived class is called as multi-level inheritance. Okay, hope so is clear. Okay, the last question, write and explain data processing cycle. So in database lesson, database concepts also, many theory questions are there. It's a very easy chapter. Please go through that. Okay, there are a few questions there also. So here, what are the different process in data processing cycle? So in some books they have given gathering of data, collection of data is also one of the steps. So you can include that also. So you can say gathering of data or collection of data. So collection of data is nothing but you are gathering the data in various forms, okay, maybe from the old records or external data from the previous records. Internal data is from the previous records of that particular company, and external records is from the market survey and research. That is, from there also you can get data, and you're going to get all those data and you're going to sort everything, and you need to input that data in the data processing system. So the first step here I have shown you here is data input. So data can be in the form of alphabets, numbers, symbols, etc. What you see on the keyboard. Yes, which is needed for processing is input into the computer using keyboard, mouse, or any input device. Okay, so any input device. And data processing is what? Once the data is put inside the computer, we need to generate some output. So some calculations has to be done onto the data. Okay, some calculations or sorting or some methodology will be used based on some conditions. For example, I want to display data of students who have got more than 50 marks in this particular subject, like in computer science, or who have scored more than 90 marks in computer science. So this is some condition that I am putting on that data. So, or I want all the names of the students in an alphabetical order, so I am sorting the data. Or I want to update, I want to find like what is the 10% of this particular product's price. So I am doing some calculation on the data. So all this comes under data processing. Okay, once the data is input and it is processed, okay, then we want to show the results. Whatever output is that is the output. Finally, like for example, as I told, I want a list of all the names of students who have scored more than 90% in computers. Then what I need to do? I will be displaying that particular output on the screen, on the monitor, or I may take a printout of that report. Okay, I can generate a print of that report, that is known as hard copy, or I may store it as a file, that is known as a soft copy. Okay, and when I do the storage, then I will be storing it on the hard disk or on the CD or on the pen drive. Okay, so to access the data and information later, data must be stored in the storage device. And finally, one more point here is the communication. So this data, whatever I have collected, stored, processed and got the output, I can send this data to various people. So it can be done through a internal network, a LAN network, that is the wired medium. Okay, within a place I can do it, or in a wireless medium through the internet or through the email. Okay, I can send this data to different people. So that is also known as communication. Okay. For example, here I am communicating through YouTube for you, isn't it? So this data is available to you. It is available in your books. It is available. The teachers would have done this 100 times for you all to do well in the exam. So the efforts are there. So, but here again we are doing this again so that it is much more. I mean, those who have not or not able to actually attend the classes due to this present situation, you can easily go through this on the internet. So this is one thing that we are doing it here. Anyhow, so that is a part of communication. Okay, so whenever we are talking about data processing cycle, you can say gathering of data, data input, data processing, storage, output and communication. So it's something like your block diagram of computer, if you remember last year, input unit, output unit, memory and CPU. So like that this can be done. Okay, so this is the set of questions what we had for model paper 1. Hope so I've been clear with most of the questions. So still if you have any doubts, please post it in the comment section below. Thank you for watching, and as I said earlier, all the best, do well in your exams. And yes, I would like to take some more videos maybe regarding the practicals. I'm just planning to explain a few important concepts on practicals. We will see about that. Do well in your exam, as I said earlier, and all the best. If you like my videos, please share and subscribe to the videos and share the link to your family and friends. Thank you.